In our nation's capital, the longest federal shutdown in U.S. history could end tonight, with the House voting on an amended bill from the Senate. NBC Montana's Today's Jason Hurst spoke with U.S. Representatives Ryan Zinke and Troy Downing earlier today. They discussed the shutdown and the sticking point over health care.
You know, look, this shutdown, what was it over? It wasn't over health care. That's why we have committees. That's why we have appropriations. And everyone realizes that healthcare is a problem, but to shut down the government and cause harm, in my opinion, it was unjustified.
Representative Troy Downing mentioned another vote is on the way and that their work isn't done just yet.
We do have another deadline coming up in a month and a half. And here's what gives me hope is we saw that this shutdown where the American people were held hostage for 40 days and now I guess going on 42 until we get this through the House, there was no policy wins here, and there shouldn't be. This was a non-political continuing resolution to keep the government open so we can do the work on these appropriations bills.
Watch the full interview on YouTube or head to this article on our NBC Montana homepage. Here's a live look of the House of Representatives in our nation's capital. And as we wait for the final outcome on the House vote to end the shutdown, national correspondent Kayla Gaskins is in Washington and explains next steps in reopening the federal government.
As federal agencies are preparing to reopen their doors, payments for the federal food stamp program, known as SNAP, will restart. It's unclear, though, exactly how quickly funds will be dispersed, but the bipartisan deal fully funds SNAP through September 30th of 2026.
Families in need will get back to receiving their food purchasing assistance, and the people's government will soon be back open for business.
It's back to work for all federal employees who will finally receive back pay after weeks without a paycheck. Air traffic controllers were among the essential workers who kept working without pay, but as the shutdown dragged on, more began calling in sick, causing staffing shortages that resulted in around 10,000 flight cancellations just since Sunday.
Safety is the #1 issue. I want you to get safely to where you're flying.
On Tuesday, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy urged controllers to return, promising they'll receive 70% of their pay within 2 days of the government reopening. Duffy warning air travel delays could continue until safety data improves.
We've seen incursions on runways. We've seen loss of separation in the airspace, and we've seen heightened complaints by pilots of the communication they're having with air traffic controllers.
Amid the public's frustration with flight disruptions, Duffy and President Trump accusing the Biden administration of ignoring proper safety protocols. Former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg responding on X.
This is a system that was in pretty rough shape by the time he lost in 2020 and we took it over. So we improved it.
Duffy firing back.
Pete did nothing. He spent $80 billion on DEI and on climate change.
Secretary Duffy hasn't given an answer yet on whether these disruptions will impact the Thanksgiving holiday. Travel experts, though, predict it will. On Capitol Hill, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
Meantime, how soon can we expect the release of economic data once the government reopens? That's a question analysts and investors are asking. The shutdown prevented the release of the October jobs report, though the Bureau of Labor Statistics rolled out the latest inflation figures, which saw prices at around 3%. The White House warns a flood of data won't arrive at once and that it's unlikely to give us a clear picture of the economy's health.
Well, I've been told that some of the surveys were never actually completed, so we'll never perhaps even know what happened in that month. And so we're going to be staring a little bit in cloudy weather for a while until we get the data agencies back up.
A handful of recent non-governmental reports do paint a rough sketch of what things look like right now. One from a firm called Challenger Gray and Christmas shows about 153,000 jobs were cut last month.